Today you're going to learn how to rotate a figure 90, 180, and 270 degrees. Just like in the past, your image is what you end up with, so that's this figure in this case. The direction of rotation when we talk about rotating a figure can be one of two things. You can either rotate clockwise or counterclockwise. So if we take a look at the figure in this picture, notice we're starting over here and ending over here. So that is the opposite way that a clock moves. So this would be a counterclockwise rotation. And the angle of rotation is simply how many degrees did you have to rotate to get from the start to the finish. In this case, 97 degrees. The pre-image is your starting image. So if we look at the figure, in this case it would be the image on the right-hand side. Typically in this class we're going to talk about having the center of rotation at the origin, or at the point 0, 0. In this case though, it is this point right here. Let's look at some rules. So to get from your starting point, you can follow 3 rules to give you a rotation of 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and 270 degrees with counterclockwise rotations about the origin. We're going to practice 180 degrees to get started here. So if you look at the rule, if you're starting with any old point, x comma y, you get to your next point by simply making the x and the y opposite. So if it was positive, make it negative. If it was negative, make it positive. So let's just write down where A, B, C, and D are. A is at negative 3, 4. B is at negative 2, 0. C is at 2, negative 3. And D is at 3, 3. And we're going to apply this rule to see where our images are. So this rule just tells you to make the signs opposite, meaning A prime is going to be at positive 3, negative 4. B prime is going to be at positive 2 and 0. C prime is going to be at negative 2, positive 3. And D prime is going to be at negative 3 and negative 3 for the x and y coordinate. Now let's plot those just to see what's going on here. So your image of A is right 3 down 4. There's A prime. B prime is over 2 up 0. C prime is left 2 up 3. And D prime is left 3 down 3. And if you go ahead and connect those, you should notice that the figure has not changed size or shape. It's just in a different orientation. And one way that you can check to see did you really graph this correctly, you can make a line from 2 corresponding points. So for example, we could see where D prime is in relation to its pre-image D with respect to the origin. So if you start at 0, 0 and make a line to D, and then again start from the origin and make a line to D prime, notice that you have a 180 degree rotation to get there. So this makes sense. In our next example, we're going to do a 270 degree clockwise rotation about the origin. And remember, these rules up here only work for counterclockwise rotations. So if you're ever given a clockwise rotation, you can turn it into a counterclockwise rotation by subtracting it from 360 degrees. So 360 degrees minus 270 degrees is a 90 degree counterclockwise rotation about 0, 0. Now that's what we need to use so we can apply this rule up here. Again, start with your original points. In this case, A is at negative 3, negative 4. B is at negative 2, comma 3. And C is at 4, comma 2. Okay, let's rewrite that rule. So just leave some space here. So our rule if we're starting with x comma y, it looks like we reverse the order. So y comes first, and then x, and then you make whatever y was opposite. Let's give that a try. So a prime, you're going to reverse the order. So flip the order, and then since y was negative, you make it opposite, and now you have a positive 4, comma negative 3. Okay, let's try that again with b. To get b prime, you flip the order, so we rearrange the 3 and the negative 2, and then we make the y, in this case the 3, opposite. So it was positive, now make it negative. And then the same thing with c. If you apply this rule, c prime is going to be at negative 2, comma 4. Go ahead and plot a prime at 4, negative 3. B prime at negative 3, negative 2. And C prime at negative 2, comma 4. And if you connect those to make your triangle, again, it has not changed size or shape, just where it is in the plane. And just like before, you can always double check. So if we start at the origin here and compare B to B prime, just as an example, if you make a line from B to the origin and a line from B prime to the origin, again, notice that this is a 90-degree angle between those two. So that makes sense that we have this 90-degree rotation here. All right. We're going to look at 3 just quick ideas here, just to summarize what we did in Chapter 9 so far. We talked about translations. We talked about reflections. And we talked about rotations today. And all of these are isometries because none of them change size or shape. And you can do any combination of these and it would still be an isometry. We're going to use this below in the next example. So notice that we're rotating this triangle 110 degrees counterclockwise. Actually, this would be clockwise in this case. And when you're finding values of variables, just make sure you have things in the correct orientation. So I notice that 12 here goes with 2s, and that's going to let me make an equation, TS, or 2s equals 12. So if I divide by 2, I'm going to end up with s equals 6. And we can come up with another pair. Here I see that this 3r matches with this 2s plus 3. So 3r has to equal 2s plus 3. And if we substitute 6 in for s, we just found, we'll end up with 3r equals 12 plus 3, which is 15. So r has to be 5. In our last example, we're going to combine 2 transformations here. So first we're going to reflect over the x-axis, and then we're going to rotate using 180 degrees about the origin. So this one I'm going to leave up to you guys. There is a half sheet of paper that has all of the rules on it. So first you're going to find a prime, b prime, and c prime by using the rule to reflect over the x-axis. So remember that rule is x comma negative y. You just change the sign on the y. Get your a prime, b prime, and c prime. And then you're going to use those and the rule to rotate 180 degrees, which is negative x comma negative y. And I would like you to see if you can come up with the correct a double prime, b double prime, and c double prime.